10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 456. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 456 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Let's continue talking about ornamentation. And as usual, when I was preparing for this episode and figuring out the stuff that I wanted to get across to you, an etude is the best way to get this stuff across to you. So we went over two sort of different ways to think about ornamentation, two different styles that are very, very common in the jazz language. And I figured the best way to show this is in a solo statement. So like a longer statement. What we did in the past two episodes is we looked at like sort of short phrases, undecorated and decorated. And I figured what would be good to do in the second two episodes is to just show you by example. So what I did is I've written for this episode a 2-chorus etude over our old friend, the F Concert Blues. And we're going to take a look at the first version, which is undecorated. And then what we're going to do is show you the second version, let you hear the second version of the decorated stuff. And then what you can do is, first of all, obviously you hear it and you hear how those decorations get thrown in kind of a musical way. And then if you're a Patreon member, you can like sort of dive in there and, rip apart all of the things that I added. And I think what it's going to do is show you really cool places to start to add these things into your solo. So even if you can't use them right away, like in your solo, that's okay. You can start to wrap your ears and your mind around it, and you can even practice some of them. Because the thing about ornamentation is that by definition, it's a little bit more technically difficult. So this could also be really, really good stuff to work on as far as technique on your instrument, because it is more demanding, because we're just trying to put more notes into a smaller space, at least with I want to use a comparison that I bring up in lessons often when talking about this kind of stuff. And there's two different sort of real life non-musical comparisons that I like to use. So you want to think about ornamentation as like the icing on the cake. So the first thing that I like to use is comparing this concept to a Christmas tree. So a Christmas tree is still a Christmas tree even before you put the ornaments on it, right? But when you put all of the ornaments on your Christmas tree, it becomes something just so much cooler to look at and enjoy, right? But the tree itself is still really beautiful. So it's not that the tree is not valid, it's just that it becomes something much cooler when you ornament it, when you decorate it, right? And the other one that I like to use is to think about like decorating a room, right? So when you walk into a room and there's no decorations, it can still be a really beautiful room. You can enjoy the way that the space is laid out. You can really admire the dimensions of the room. It's still a functioning space. But then when you start to put up decorations in that room, it really becomes yours, and it takes on a whole new dimension, a whole new degree of personalization. And somebody might walk in that room and go, wow, what a beautiful room. But you know what I love the most about this room is what you've done with it, where you've chosen to put the furniture, where you've chosen to put the artwork to really accent and decorate this room. Wow, you've really transformed this space into something that I just love being in. So what's the moral of the story? Why am I using these comparisons? A solo or playing without these ornamentation devices, it's not that it's not valid. It's just that when you start to put and the thing about jazz is that you're going to be like decorating your Christmas tree for a long time, right? Like over the course of years. It might take you years to find the right, but just keep working on it. try to add a few like that line. So think about it like the icing on the cake. It's the final piece of artwork in your living room that really brings the room together. It's those with a purposeful lack of these devices that we've been talking about this month. All right, so you're going to notice I still actually really like the sound of this etude. I think it's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. But you're going to notice these devices that and for the Patreon people, this is the first page of your worksheet for this week. So as I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually really like the way that sounds. But again, there are ways that we can just make it sound cooler, more interesting. And I think what you're about to hear, it does represent a little bit more of an interesting, characteristically jazz-sounding etude compared to this first one. It's the same material, but I've just used every opportunity that I could to add some of these decorations that we've been talking about. Now, but this etude represents, a demonstration, right? So I took every single opportunity that I could find, basically, to put in some of these ornaments that we've been talking about. All right, here's the second page of your worksheet for this week. Fancy, right? And that's the whole goal, is to make it sound a little bit more fancy. And you could actually hear that was challenging me technically, because there was a lot of stuff going on there. So it just goes to show that, these are very technically challenging things to do. So on top of making your solo sound better, it can also just really help grow your technique, which I think is a great way. So you will get the etude in concert, B flat, E flat, and bass clef. You will get the demo tracks of both of those so you can play along with me. And I'm also including for the $5 Patreon members the etude demo with the decorations, followed by trading choruses, I think 3 or 4 times through. So and people do that in the form of a small monthly donation, really small. In fact, I should probably raise that. Small monthly donation, and in return for that donation, you do get the materials for every single episode. So if you want more details and you want to sign up and get everything that we've gone over in this episode, go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, or go to patreon.com and search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. The only thing I ask you is that when you do sign up, if you do sign up, use just a regular old web browser. If you could avoid doing it in the iOS or Google app, that would be great, because when you do that, they take 30% of your donation and they just keep it for themselves. So if you could do that in a web browser, that would really, really help. Okay, that's it. I'm going to leave off the episode by playing the 4 choruses back to back again. So the undecorated and the decorated just kind of right back to each other so you can hear it one more time. And have fun with this stuff. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everybody.